These are similar to the tungsten metal electrodes and rod pieces I'll be recovering in the video. Some of these anodes look nearly perfect. One here has nodules formed on it. I'll try and get that in the frame here so you can see it. They get pretty gnarly sometimes. Anyway, the nodules cause unstable arcs and probably led to this one being replaced. Anyway, the cathodes are all sharp points when those are new, and they get blunted over time as the metal vaporizes and gets redeposited onto the anode and the glass. So anyway, I've heard in other parts of the country, scrap metal dealers pay $10 a pound or more for tungsten metal, but I haven't found prices quite that good around my area. Before we begin, I want to say work outdoors, make sure you wear goggles, maybe even gloves, because no matter how careful you are, some glass is going to fly. Some of the glass will turn to dust, so wear a respirator or at least a mask. Also, you'll notice in the video that the smaller lamp that I'm working on has a white material between the glass and the metal shell that looks almost like rolled paper. I'll see if I can show it to you here also. That's the stuff I'm referring to. It actually goes between the glass and the metal shell and only seems to be on the smaller lamps. And let's see. Yeah, so I don't think it's asbestos, since that would require special warnings on the packaging and in the documentation. It seems to me like it's possibly a spun ceramic insulation material, but I really don't know what it is, so don't take any chances. Better to be safe than sorry. Thanks, and I hope you find this video useful. Okay, I'm going to be doing a short video on scrapping out tungsten metal from high-pressure xenon arc lamps. These are used in digital movie projectors. There's some remains from previous ones I've done. Some of these pieces are, there's still tungsten there, but it's encased in glass for the most part, and not really what people want to buy. But I got all the good parts out of them. The shell itself, as far as I know, is brass with a chrome coating. Now, these particular lamps are Christie's. There's other brands out there, Osram, Philips, and several others. These are some of the best made lamps. Osrams would be some of the worst, some of the cheaper, smaller electrodes in them, smaller rods. Anyway, I've got two different sizes here I'm going to show. The one you're looking at is a 3K lamp, 3000 watt, and you have a large tungsten anode in there, and then a smaller pointed cathode. And one end has a screw terminal, as you see, and the other end is connected with a strap that goes around it and clamps down. Now, this is a 6K lamp. It's one of the largest ones. That's 6,000 watts. Again, this one was 3,000 watts. They do make smaller ones, 2,000s and other common size. Anyway, I'm going to put these back in their safety containers. These are under high pressure. When they're at room temperature, I believe they still have something like 4 atmospheres of pressure. And when they've been operating and they're hot, they're actually up around 19 atmospheres. And anyway, the pressure in them is quite sufficient to blast that glass apart if you're not careful, and embed it in your skin. So I'm going to put them back in the capsules for safety, to break them open, and then we'll get on to the scrapping. I'm going to pause this for now. Okay, so I have this back in the safety capsule, and I have the two locks slid closed, and this makes it somewhat safe. I still have seen a lot of these capsules break open from the force of the the gas inside the bulb. But anyway, I've already got the other one back in the box, ready to break. And I was also going to mention some of the cheaper brands, like Osram's, for example, they don't come with a plastic capsule. They just come in a bigger box with a lot of foam in it, and then the actual bulb is wrapped in sort of a thick cloth with some Velcro snaps. So I like these a lot better. If I can save, some of the different size capsules, I do that, and then I can use them for other cheaper lamps like that I have to break, do it more safely. So I'm going to put this one back in the box. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm going to close this up, and we'll break it so you can see how that works. And believe it or not, these are somewhat hard to break sometimes. Not always, but now I've got it safely in the box. I'm going to slam it, and you can hear you heard the glass break in that one. You see the 3K, which is not breaking as well. There we go. Now the 3K is broken also. Alright, let's open this up. Get the cardboard out of the way. Now, not used to working one-handed. There we go. So you see we got a bunch of glass. This is a quartz glass. A lot of the finer stuff is actually like sand. Some little rubber pieces that help protect it. This is the, let's see, this would be the cathode side, and that's still attached to the tungsten rod, which connects it back to the terminal. This is the anode piece, the bulk of the weight. And this one probably weighs about, I'd say 5-6 ounces, maybe 4 or 5 anyway. Now the 6K, that'll be quite a bit more. I mean, it's almost twice the diameter. But this is the 3K. So I'm just going to try and figure out how to hold the camera and do all this. Alright, first thing I'm going to do on this one is I will break off that little electrode on the end, and then I'm going to take a pair of channel locks. I usually use this pair for that. Take a pair of channel locks, and I'm going to hold this over the trash can and beat it around this area here. And what that'll do is it'll break that glass. And there's also glass inside here that kind of keeps that rod centered and sealed. And it's actually connected with like a web of like stranded wire, woven stranded wire back in here. So what'll start to happen is once I break this glass, that rod will cause it to swing around in there, and it actually acts like a little hammer. So when I hit this, this will go down and that piece will come up and smack the glass, and vice versa. So it helps you break the glass, actually. I'm going to put this on hold for a minute. Okay, I'm going to give this a try and see how it works. Hopefully everything will stay on camera. Okay, I got the external part of the glass off, and there's some usually some wire. I believe this is tungsten wire, and it's metal foil inside. And hopefully we're on camera here. Oops! You can see down inside there the metal rod and the glass that's still sealed in, and the glass around the inner side of the metal shell. So On some of the cheaper ones, like the Osrams I mentioned, they have a really thin rod, and I would actually be able to just take and put pliers down in there and just bust the rod off right above where it's sealed in the glass. This one is probably close to a 1/4 inch thick. This is the 3K lamp. Be even bigger on the 6K. So I can't break it off that easily. I'm going to have to get the glass out of here first. So I already hit the outer part of the glass with the pliers, broke it off. I'm going to start banging on this shell here. And again, like I said, that metal rod is connected by a flexible cable inside, so it actually acts like a hammer as you're beating on the shell and helps you break the glass. So at this point, I'm going to cut the shell down here and take it off so that I can get to the section of the rod where I want to break it. For that I use some tin snips. Oops. And I still have some glass in there. It's loose. Okay, so now I can take that shell off. And here we go. Now what I want to do is I want to break off the good section of the rod here before it's sealed in the glass, so right about in there. And I'm going to do that by holding it with 2 pairs of channel locks and break it. Okay, so where I've gripped it, it's actually still coated with glass, and it's fused to the surface. It's not something you could easily break off there. So, and I usually grab it way back in the joint part of the pliers here. And then I'm going to take the other pair and grab it, come on, near where I want to break it. Snap it off. And I didn't mention it before, but these appear to be sintered metal. It looks like a powder that's been, pressed together under heat and pressure, and it's known as sintering, and makes it somewhat brittle. So, anyway, and that's a good, maybe almost 2 ounces there. So, all right, I'll go ahead and do the other end now. This end's designed a little different. You see it's got a little metal strip wrapped around the rod. Now that was up against the bottom of the that large anode that broke off when we broke the lamp. So I'm going to peel that off first. It's just wrapped around it. Now, I have some reason to believe these are molybdenum. I don't know in fact if they are or not, but I've just been tossing them. There's wire that's wrapped around the end of the shaft here. We need to get that off so that we can slide this end out of the glass. There's a trigger wire. It's attached to the outside. It's used for the high voltage that's required to strike the lamp. Nothing's working right today. And we have more foil and wire, and that's off. On this side, the piece in the center is actually broken loose already. What I'm going to do is go ahead and cut the shell. Okay, shell's off. I'm going to break off that little bit of glass so I can get up close with the channel locks, and then I'll break this just like I did the other one. Let's see if we're on camera. Looks okay. And that's actually longer than the one on the other side. So, and I know a lot of people don't even collect these. They end up throwing them away, and they're throwing away money. All they save is the 2 electrodes. So there we are from one 3K lamp. I'm going to go ahead and do the 6K now, and I'll show you a size comparison of the electrodes when I'm done. Okay, so I'm taking the 6K lamp out of its capsule now. And this one turned out a little different. You notice the on this one the cathode is the end that broke off, the pointed electrode. And on this 6K lamp there was actually a metal strip behind the cathode. The anode, which is the larger of the two, actually stayed connected to the rod. So I'll be, whoops, oh. Okay, just came loose on its own, so it was already cracked. But anyway, that's the anode. Cathode is going to be down in the glass here. And it's quite a bit bigger than on the other one. I'll just show you the comparison right now. Those are the 2 cathodes. Stand them both the same direction. So, I mean, not only is it longer, but it's probably, you know, almost half again as big around. And these are the 2 anodes. So again, it's both bigger around and longer. It's probably, I don't know, I'd say a good 6-7 ounces at least. Alright. And really the only other thing different on this one, won't bother you with the whole process, is the shell is a lot thicker metal. So even though these little braces between the holes are much thinner, or narrower, I should say, the metal itself is thicker and they're harder to cut. Plus there's more of them. I'd have to cut it in like 6 different places. But that's the only real difference. Pretty much the same as you already saw with the other one. So I'm going to cut this. Okay, obviously I did my videos kind of stream of consciousness and just try and remember everything I wanted to say as it happens. But anyway, I had mentioned sometimes these capsules actually break. This particular lamp is the 45, which is smaller than the 6K that I showed you earlier. But strangely enough, it had a lot healthier pop when I broke it. And you can see a little difference in the design of the cathode. And the other funny thing is that the anode, where are we at? Trying to find the camera. Ah, there we go. Anyway, little piece of the rod stuck to the anode here. But what's funny is The anode on the 4.5K is actually bigger than the one on 6K. And depends somewhat on the lamp model. This is what they call a CDXL 45SP, which is supposed to be a longer life lamp, and I kind of have my doubts on that. But anyway, but you can see the anode is significantly larger than the one that the 6K lamp had. And sometimes too, it depends on when the lamps were made. You know, how long they've been sitting around, because designs do change over time. So anyway, and back to the capsule. It's actually cover's kind of jammed up because there's some glass in the hinge, but it actually split those black sliding locks right in half. So again, take care. Be careful.